Hello everyone, this is Matt Miller at Nokia Experts, and we're going to take a look at a couple of BlackBerries with our resident smartphone experts, Crackberry Kevin. How you doing, Kevin?
I'm doing very well. We actually say BlackBerry smartphones. You know, the RIM frowns against BlackBerry's pearl. But no, I'm joking.
Yeah, Nokia's actually switched back to smartphones. We tried to call them multimedia computers for a while, but now we're back to smartphones.
Multimedia computers, that's way too technically cool.
So what are the two devices we have here?
On your left, you have the Storm 2. So that's the second generation touchscreen that fixes up a lot of the Storm 1's growing pains,
right.
Being their first. And then on the right, you have the new sort of flagship traditional BlackBerry, the BlackBerry Bold 9700,
okay,
which is kind of the best of everything RIM has ever done in one tight package.
All right. Well, I'm going to take a look at the Storm 2 because I have actually played with this device. I did play with the Storm 1, and I wasn't very happy with the big pressable screen. Right.
Okay. So this still has a pressable screen, although press on it right now. You can't.
Doesn't do anything.
Can't do anything. So if you power it on, there's a sort of hidden power button there. You can just push in on it. Now you're back in action. And now if you push on the screen, the click is there.
Ah, that's interesting. So what are they using for that?
So it's basically 4 electric buttons under the display, versus on the Storm 1 you had kind of one mechanical button, sort of mounted in the center of the display, which you couldn't turn on or off. It was always there no matter what. So on this phone they've kind of improved the experience. It still has this whole, their concept is to separate navigation from confirmation. So
right.
you can kind of click around, select your options, but nothing happens until you push in on the screen.
See, so this is like our newest S65th edition on Nokia's.
Okay.
They're resistive, right? But on most of these kind of menus, a single tap also is a selector.
Okay.
And then the same thing, you have to tap again on the Nokia devices to activate it.
There you go.
So, there's been a lot of debate. People are like, oh, this is crap. Well, I want to just tap and go. But, in some cases like this, it kind of makes more sense, too, with menus, certain menus and things like that. All right, so this is a full QWERTY in the portrait mode.
Full QWERTY in the portrait. If you turn it sideways, you'll get the landscape.
Oh, okay.
And if you turn it back to portrait, you can also activate different keyboards, which may be off this menu.
Reduced keyboard?
Yeah, enable reduced keyboard. Which is like the old Pearl had.
Right, that sure type or whatever?
Sure type,
okay.
Exactly.
So by default, does it do a predictive if I just start to...
Yeah, it should be predictive on it. You can also change the way the predictive works. So it'll give you different options.
Okay.
Definitely takes some getting used to, but and I think the devices you've used previously are really going to kind of affect how much you either like, love, dislike the Storm 2.
And one thing on this before was you really had to focus on when you tapped one letter and then slowly get to the next one. Is it a little bit faster with this?
It is. So the biggest difference...
It seems like it's...
Yeah, the biggest difference now in switching between the old Storm to this Storm is when you have more buttons under the screen. I can compress one side and then click again on the other side. So when you're typing on that full keyboard now, you can bounce from letter to letter much more quickly versus having to fully let go of the screen and then click again.
And that's a pretty big deal, I think, for making this a device that somebody's going to want to go out and get. Right?
Exactly. It's as far as RIM being tied to this kind of concept of wanting to make the screen clickable. Now it's a much more usable device. And
just the feel of it actually is a nice, solid feeling device.
Solid. It's heavy. Yeah. It's definitely heavy.
I like the devices with heft, though.
Well, there's a value proposition there, right? You're paying big bucks for a phone.
That's right.
Get your money's worth out of it.
All right, so let's take a look at this is a more typical BlackBerry, right?
Correct. So this is your, RIM's tradition was putting a good usable keyboard on a device, making it fast, and really focusing on, communication as the priority. So I mean, the big thing here is you lose a lot of screen real estate when you throw a keyboard on it and the nav buttons in the middle. They've scrapped the trackball now, so if you compare, let's say last year's Bold, the previous flagship to the newest flagship, this was RIM's first kind of all-in-one device where they had 3G, Wi-Fi, GPS, all the things that are now kind of standard, but this was their first one that did it all.
It's pretty wide.
Pretty big device. It's a very comfortable keyboard to type on, and the screen's about 1/4 inch wider than this one, but for the new Bold, they've really shrunk it down, so it's just a more pocketable phone. Trackball's gone for the trackpad, which is kind of nice to use. It's
yeah, it's pretty responsive, isn't
very responsive. It updates the look, and the biggest thing is it's more durable.
Okay.
The number one wear component on a traditional BlackBerry was the trackball.
Right.
So this is kind of done in hopes of, greatly reducing the need to replace anything.
Now with Nokia, we actually have a, I don't know if you've seen the Nokia E71. It's very much I don't have one here because my wife's using it.
Okay.
But it's very much a device that looks just about like this. It's got the, non-touch interface. It's got a full QWERTY keyboard, front-facing.
Right. It's sort of the metal one. It's got a lot of metal on it.
It's like stainless steel.
Yes, yeah.
It's really a sleek device. How would that, do you think, compare to this? What are the real powers of this one?
I think this is. I think it's a similar user case. I mean, it's a person who is sending a lot of emails and texts and that kind of thing, in addition to receiving them. Productivity tool, but it doesn't slouch in terms of multimedia.
Okay.
I mean, it has a 3.2 megapixel camera, so no, it's not 5 or 8 like some of the Nokia ones.
Well, our E71 has a 3.2. It's not till the E72 we get a 5.
So it's on par then. Apps have really come a long way on BlackBerry in the last little bit, and it's where RIM has really made a push. So I mean,
yeah, this year you've launched the BlackBerry App World, right?
Yeah, App World launched on, I think it was April 1st of 09 it launched, and there was a few thousand apps in there. I mean, you don't have to use App World, so I mean, through sites like Crackberry, we've been selling apps for years.
Right.
But I mean, now RIM's really embraced it, so they're bringing the developer tools, they're bringing the awareness to BlackBerry.
That's nice, though. I mean, with Nokia we have the Ovi Store, but we can still get our apps the old way too. So you have the flexibility, but yet you have the convenience of having an app store on the device as well.
Absolutely. And what we found is, RIM's goal wasn't to be the one and only app store.
Right.
They really embrace channels and partners. So if carriers want to push their own app store, RIM is all for that. If sites like Crackberry want to push their app store, RIM is all for that. They're really looking for what's best for the whole BlackBerry platform, and that means give people options to get their apps.
Now, as far as messaging, I know this is heavy messaging focused device. I've heard a lot about what do they call it? BlackBerry. I don't even know what it's called.
BBM?
BBM, yeah.
BBM, yeah. BBM is life-changing.
I don't know if you can show that because this is your personal device.
Well, let's click into it. So it's right there. They actually recently
this
launched...
one there? Okay.
They recently launched BlackBerry Messenger 5.0, which built upon the existing BBM. I mean, the way to think of it is like an IM client, like Microsoft Live Messenger or anything like that, AOL Messenger, except it's for Blackberries to Blackberry, so you have to own a Blackberry to use it. Yeah,
because I've gotten questions from Nokia, people moving to a Nokia E71.
Yeah.
Can I get the BlackBerry Messenger on here? I want to take it with me.
It's one of those killer apps, and it's one of those apps that keeps BlackBerry owners on Blackberries for the long haul. Because once you have it, it's one of the benefits, right? Is, and we could probably, let's see here. I'll do a quick peek
check
at the angle. If there's here's Mickey in here. Okay. So you can message Mickey on this, and maybe he'll answer on his BlackBerry. But one of the key things you can see when you send a message is once you send it, it's going to tell you, check mark, your device sent it. Now, when it shows up on his device, it's going to give you a little D under the check mark saying it was delivered to the device. Okay. So, I mean, if his device is powered down or he's on an airplane, that message will stay in limbo. As soon as it powers up and he gets it, it goes to a D. Once he's read it, it switches to an R. So you know when the person's read the message. Versus,
is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, it's a dangerous thing depending on how you live your life.
Right.
But, so now you can see it's delivered.
Okay.
And you'll see when he's read it. And then, you'll get the response. And as he starts to respond, you'll see that he's typing.
Oh, really?
That's very powerful.
Do you see their typing?
You don't see what they're typing, but it'll say, is typing a message.
Okay.
And what they've done in the new version is they've really expanded on it. So, you can do things like send photos through here. You can send voice notes through here.
There we go. He received it and replied as well.
He's working on editing audio. And now they've built in BlackBerry groups. So let's say you go to a conference, right, like the round robin, and let's say we all had BlackBerries. We'd all create a round robin group on here, and then over the course of the weekend, we could share photos. We could do all stay in touch in a group SMS type environment. That's just a little more powerful.
We're about out of time, but I appreciate spending some time with the BlackBerries. These are definitely interesting devices, and they've come a long way, I think. This is
absolutely
this is nice. These are really nice pieces of hardware. So thanks for your time, Kevin.
My pleasure.